Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC 284, and in the featured fight on the main card, we have Della Maddalena versus Randy Brown, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for this welterweight matchup. And I've already done a bunch of UFC 284 content, including a prediction video for the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski, as well as the co-main event, Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. If you want to watch any of those videos, I will link my entire UFC 284 playlist down in the description, and also I will be doing a live fight watch along for UFC 284 on Saturday. So if you want to join me for that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. So Della Maddalena versus Randy Brown is a very good fight. I'm really excited for this matchup. I think it's a fan-friendly matchup. I think it'll answer some questions about both guys. But at the same time, this fight should not be the featured fight on a pay-per-view main card. It just really shouldn't. Maybe it should open up the card. Maybe it should headline the prelims. It should not be the featured fight on a pay-per-view main card. It does not deserve to be that high on a card yet. But I kind of understand because, Paulo Costa, Robert Whittaker fell out, or it was never signed, so it ultimately didn't end up happening on this card. You also had Alex Perez versus Kai Kara France, which was originally on this card, fall out, and ultimately this ended up as the feature fight on the main card. And I really think, this is one of those fights that it's a great prelim, but it doesn't deserve to be on the pay-per-view. But nonetheless, I think this is a very interesting fight between two up-and-coming prospects. Randy Brown's been around for a while, but he just started off on a nice little win streak, and Della Maddalena has looked like an absolute killer in the UFC, but he hasn't fought the greatest of competition. And I believe Randy Brown is the biggest test in Della Maddalena's career. And if he can go out there and beat a guy like Randy Brown, then we can start having some discussions about Della Maddalena taking a massive step up in competition, and potentially after his maybe next fight, if he beats Randy Brown, after his next fight, he's probably going to be close to the top 15, if not on the outer edges on the top 15. I think both of these guys are very skilled. I think both of these guys are always in fun fights, and I'm looking forward to this matchup, and I think both guys could really, be a contender in the future. Della Maddalena more than Randy Brown. But I think both guys have been improving over the past few years, and I'm really interested to see where both guys go in the next year or two. So if you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Della Maddalena is 13-2, Randy Brown is 16-4. Neither one of these guys is ranked. Della Maddalena is 26, Brown is 32. Della Maddalena is 5'11". Brown is 6'3". Della Maddalena has a 73-inch reach, and Randy Brown has a 78-inch reach. So a 4-inch height advantage for Randy Brown and a 5-inch reach advantage for Randy Brown. So if you look at Randy Brown, he has 16 wins, 6 by knockout, 5 by submission, 5 by decision. He has 4 losses, 2 by knockout, 1 by submission, and 1 by decision. He comes into this fight on a 4-fight win streak. His last fight was against Francisco Trinaldo. It wasn't a super impressive win for Randy Brown. He won the fight, but you could even make a case that Trinaldo won. I don't think Trinaldo did win, but it was just super competitive for a guy that's like 75 years old. I know Trinaldo's been around forever, and he's been fighting at a high level forever, but I feel like this is a fight that Randy Brown should have had like a spectacular finish in to really elevate his name. It was a back-and-forth fight. Trinaldo was able to out-wrestle him at points in time. Both guys were landing good shots. Trinaldo landed a couple big shots in this fight, and Randy Brown was just kind of backing up, countering, and pumping the jab. The fight before that was against Chaos Williams. He won this fight via split decision. Chaos Williams kind of has a similar style to Della Maddalena, where he likes to kind of just pressure forward and throw bombs. This was a very closely contested fight. I think, Randy Brown won the first round, or actually I think Chaos Williams won the first round. Randy Brown won the second round. And then the third round, both guys got rocked multiple times. And the third round was kind of up for debate. I thought Chaos Williams could have won this fight, but honestly, it was a coin flip. Could have went either way. Both guys landed good shots, and it was really a toss-up, so I don't have a problem with the decision. The fight before that was against Jarrett Gooden. Again, not the greatest of competition. And then the fight before that against Alex Cowboy Oliveira. He won this fight via rear naked choke, and this was his last finish. back in April of 2021. His last loss was against Vicente Luque in August of 2020. He got KO'd by Vicente Luque in the second round. And I think this shows a trend for Randy Brown's UFC career because he's been in the UFC since 2016, which was actually shocking to me that he's been in the UFC for 7 years. And, you know, if you look at his career in the UFC, every time he gets a step up in competition, he ends up losing. And I know these guys weren't necessarily where they are today, but he lost to Belal Muhammad back at UFC 208 in 2017. And I know Belal Muhammad was nowhere near as good as he is today, but again, a quality fighter, and look where he ended up. He also lost to Nico Price. He got KO'd by Nico Price back in 2018. Nico Price is on the downhill trajectory nowadays, but at the time, Nico Price was a decent opponent. And then I already mentioned the Vicente Luque loss. But since that Vicente Luque loss, he's gone on a 4-fight win streak, but he's only finished one of those fights. You know, he hasn't really shown finishing ability in any of the last 3 of his fights. He hurt Chaos a couple times, but never really went for the kill in those fights. You look at Jack Della Maddalena. He comes into this fight. He has 13 pro MMA wins, 11 by knockout, 1 by submission, 1 by decision, 2 losses, 1 by knockout, and 1 by submission. He lost his first 2 MMA fights. He lost his first fight back in 2016 via TKO. Then he lost his second fight via submission. And since then, he has not lost a fight. And then he fought on Dana White's Contender Series back in September of 2021. He won that fight via unanimous decision. Then since then, he has been on an absolute tear. Not against the greatest competition, but still, he went out there, brutally TKO'd Pete Rodriguez. Then he went out there against Ramazan Ameev, and this was a super impressive performance. He even avoided an anaconda choke, you know, in the first round. I can't remember exactly how it played out, but Ameev almost had Jack Della Maddalena in an anaconda choke, and it would look pretty tight. And Jack Della Maddalena fought out of it violently, got up, and then ends up just starting to smash Ramazan Ameev, and then eventually finishes him, I think, halfway through the first round. And then his last fight against Danny Roberts, he went out there, and it could have arguably been stopped 3 times. Jack Della Maddalena was literally smashing Danny Roberts in this fight, beating him up, dropping him, landing some good ground and pound. Somehow he would survive. The ref wouldn't stop it. He would move just enough where the ref wouldn't stop it. And then he would work his way back to his feet. And then Jack Della Maddalena would persist with just smashing him with punches, ripping to the body, power hooks, and eventually finishes him midway through the first round. And, you know, it's just crazy. Jack Della Maddalena, last 3 fights, all KOs or TKOs, all first round stoppages. And that's just the way he likes to win. He likes to go out there and look for a finish early. And again, of his 13 pro MMA wins, 11 by KO or TKO. And you look at Randy Brown, 16 wins. He kind of mixes it all in. He has 6 wins by knockout, 5 by submission, 5 by decision. So essentially, you know, you can't really put him into any category in terms of a knockout artist or submission artist. And he gets some decisions as well. So I really see this fight. I think, you know, Randy Brown's going to come out. I think he's going to be pumping the jab. I think he's going to be looking to use that 5-inch reach advantage. I think he's going to be looking to use that height advantage. I think he's going to be backing up from Jack Della Maddalena, smashing the jab in his face. I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, he just kind of plots forward. You know, he doesn't have any sophisticated footwork. He doesn't have any elusive head movement. He just moves forward and looks to land power shots. And I think Randy Brown's going to be pumping the jab, backing up, looking to land good shots on the feet. And I think Jack Della Maddalena is just going to be rushing forward, throwing nasty power shots, looking for the finish early. And my official prediction for this fight, I am going Jack Della Maddalena via late first round KO. I just think he's going to find the shot. When Randy Brown's getting hit with big shots by Francisco Trinaldo, you know, he's getting hit by big shots by Chaos Williams, getting rocked. Jack Della Maddalena has shown us that he has nasty power on the feet. And I just think even if he's eating the jab, he's just going to walk forward, and I think he's going to look to close the distance. I think he's going to look to crowd Randy Brown. Randy Brown doesn't have the best head movement. He doesn't have the best footwork. A lot of times he'll have a tendency to back straight up, and I think eventually Jack Della Maddalena, he's going to be swarming him, throwing combinations, throwing shots to the body, and I think eventually he's going to find one of those hooks. It's going to land right on the chin of Randy Brown. He's going to drop him to the ground and then swarm him with ground and pound for the finish. I just don't see Randy Brown winning this fight. If he does, but I think this is highly unlikely. I think Randy Brown, if he wins, I think he'll win by a KO as well. I think, Jack Della Maddalena, he has ate some shots moving in before. He moves in a bit recklessly. So maybe Randy Brown with like an upward knee, a step-in knee, or a front kick. But I just don't think that's super likely. Jack Della Maddalena always keeps his hand high, always keeps his chin tucked, always just looking to move forward and knock his opponent out. And I just think Randy Brown is going to be so worried about the power firing back from Jack Della Maddalena. He's never going to be able to get comfortable and be able to throw the type of power shots he's going to need to put someone like Jack Della Maddalena, who has a very good chin, away. So I really think Jack Della Maddalena is going to win this fight. I think even Jack Della Maddalena could out-wrestle Randy Brown. Honestly, Randy Brown's been out-wrestled in a lot of fights. He's resorted to grabbing the fence against Francisco Trinaldo. And I think Jack Della Maddalena, it could be a situation where he rocks and follows him to the ground and finishes him off with ground and pound elbows. I just think his power's too much. I think his skill is too good. I think he has a good variety of attack, especially with the hands. He's ripping to the body. You see a lot of fighters who just go head hunting, especially when they got KO power like Della Maddalena. But he mixes it up to the body. He mixes in the kicks sometimes as well. Not as much as he probably should, but I think eventually Randy Brown keeps his hands low. Sometimes he likes to get a little bit too flashy with the striking and try to look super impressive on the feet. And I just think the chin's kind of up. The footwork isn't great. He backs straight up. And I think Jack Della Maddalena, with his pressure, is going to continue to move forward. And I think he's really going to be able to land one of those nasty power hooks on the chin of Randy Brown and put him away in the late first round. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.